We're all connected.
Hello, sweet souls. This is DTO, wishing you a beautiful moment wherever you are. And want to remind everyone for my podcast that you can comment, ask a question, and share. And we will be able to see those requests for any questions you have today with our guest, who is Lena Belle. She is an extraordinary musician, and she is a rising talent with a voice that speaks for a generation of the longing for spirit, for love, for balance, for identity. Lena's words offer a sense of hope for how we can navigate our expansive inner life in the modern world. And that's a quote from LA Yoga Magazine. Songstress of the light, Lena Belle sings from a deep love in her soul and shares that love with the world. Her lyrics connect our hearts to nature and the wisdom of our innermost selves. Her joyful mix of crystal clear, soaring vocals, inventive beats, and healing sounds is a breath of fresh air. An alt-pop singer, Lena Belle weaves tapestries of love with her conscious, heart-centered music. Her songs take you on a journey into your own heart and soul. Lena is a regular performer at transformational music festivals like Totality Festival, Zen Fest West, and more. Featured on KXFM Radio, Laguna Beach, LA Yoga Journal Magazine, and more, her full-length album, Nature Knows, is available now for pre-order at natureknows.love, where you can get merch packages that create an immersive five senses experience of the music. And we have Lena Belle on, and we'll bring her on camera. Thank you for being here, Lena.
Thank you for having me. It's so good to be here.
Absolutely. And so let's start off with our first question. I'd love to ask any guest, because this podcast is about art, music, and yoga. And so when did your passion and love for music as a child begin? How did this whole frequencies of sounds, which we call music, when did you first hear music and how did it start?
Yeah, so I started music at a really young age. My dad is a music teacher. He's like a choral director and a band teacher. And my grandmother on his side was an opera singer. Her name was Lucy Belle. So that's where I got the Belle and Lena Belle. And really beautiful, sweet mezzo soprano voice. So, I was surrounded by music. When I was a little kid, I used to sing in the shopping cart in the store. So, like when I was really, really tiny, like 3 or something, or maybe even less, maybe even younger than that. But I would like stand up in the shopping cart and like sing my repertoire of maybe Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, Doe, a Deer from Sound of Music. And then I would sing it for like the moms in the stores. So those were my first performances. And I also took piano lessons. I played flute actually in elementary school. And I got a little more serious about piano in middle school. And that's when it really became like something I connected to more. And I was to this zone, and I can be kind of introverted. So this was a nice thing when I was a kid, just to be able to like be in my own space and play music as a kid by myself. And it was definitely a great comfort to me. And then I ended up going to Interlochen Arts Academy for my senior year in high school. and studying voice and piano. And then I went on to the Eastman School of Music, which is a conservatory of music in upstate New York. And I studied classical vocal performance and music education. So, yeah, it wasn't till after college that I really started writing my own music more and more, although I did write a couple of songs when I was a kid as well.
Oh, that's wonderful. So we have something in common. My mom is a music teacher. And so for you to have a parent that's a music teacher as well, it means we grew up hearing music in the home. I heard lots of scales and vocal warm-ups. And I love the fact that you're a little girl on a shopping cart, just like, do, a do. I love it. I can already imagine it. It's so lovely.
Yeah. And I used to perform like for the relatives too. So I would act out everything in Do a Deer. So like so then when I got to Fa, a long, long way to run, I would run across the room.
Oh, it was interactive.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's great. Shows you how music can inspire us to move, right? That's one of the benefits, which is a question we'll talk about later, like why music even exists, right? And it's a way to inspire us. Excellent. All right. So question number 2 is, what inspired you to create your own music?
I think it's very natural to make music when you're to write your own music and improvise when you are engaging in music. I think the way that we teach music education sometimes suppresses that, actually. So I feel like it's actually a natural part of the music education to always be improvising and writing music. All of the musicians of the past used to always do that, and it's only more recently that we have this more this way of teaching music where you just play what has already been written down, and kind of like it's like learning a language. And if we're only taught to recite what was already written, then you don't really know the language if you can't converse, right? So I feel like actually it's everyone's birthright to be improvising and writing in that way. And when you're engaging in music, I think it's natural to do that. It's more about just allowing yourself to engage in that, allowing, if you're a music teacher, allowing the kids to engage in that as well, because it's a natural part of playing music. But yeah, it's almost like it's so natural that it would be weird not to. I don't know if that really answered, but yeah, that's kind of how I got into writing music. It's just so natural.
I love that. And it sounds like it was a slow progression of your own self-expression, singing what other people have created, and then that experimental part of using your throat and your voice all of a sudden is like, ooh, I'm going to dabble in this. I'm going to play with this line. Because I have had that moment when I was playing piano. I was classically trained. So it's like, here's what's on the paper, play it for a recital, do it impeccably, make sure the dynamics are exactly how they're supposed to be. That's the beauty of having your own music, right? If you want to play around the dynamics or the speed or the tempo, it's your own creation. So you get to do that. And it's almost like paint by numbers, or by between the lines, besides, I'm just have this blank canvas I'm going to create. And I'll share with this, like my mom, she hasn't explored that realm that I got into. And what you're choosing to do, Lena, is to go in and dive into like the infinite amount of possibilities that music provides us. And my mom's wonderful for playing, church music, and my mom watches all my podcasts. So hi, Mom. So she's wonderful at playing by the rules of it. And it's really beautiful to take that quantum leap and be like, hey, I'm going to create something that's not yet invented on planet Earth. And there's something beautiful about being an accompanist and like playing for other people and sharing that talent of the musical instrument, but then not saying, hey, there's nothing really that I'm here to share except the love of musicals, for example, which my mom loves. case in
Mhm.
point, right? And that's Sound of Music and Do Deer, right? So it's wonderful. And it's also, I would say, when you start to create your own music, it's kind of a follow-up to this question for you is, was there a moment or an aha light bulb when you were like, whoa, I just created that? Like you played it on the guitar, you sang something that you never heard before that came through you. Was there any moment that occurred where you're like, this is something that I created? This is amazing.
Yeah. Well, okay, the first song I ever wrote was when I was maybe 10, I would say. And it didn't have any accompaniment. It was just a cappella. I could even sing it now if you want, just
Yeah,
the
let's do
chorus
it.
of it. But it was this very cute, like little, almost like, yeah, I'll just sing it. But it's called Fairy Tale, and it was actually like pretty deep. So this song is called Fairy Tale, and it was like me when I was 10 or so, thinking about this boy maybe over the summer, and I was like, do I really like him, or am I just creating a fairy tale in my mind? So it's kind of deep. But yeah, so it's the first song I ever wrote when I was 10. And it was like, am I dreaming of a fairy tale? Or do I really love you? Is it just a crush? Or do I really care? Am I dreaming of a fairy tale?
Oh, I love it. And we have a comment that comes in. Tracy
We
said
wrote
that's
the verses after that. Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
awesome, Tracy.
Yeah, thank you,
Yes, I
Tracy.
mean,
Yeah, I was a deep thinker. So I was always a deep thinker as a kid. I had a lot of relatives that would say, Lena's an old soul. She's wise beyond her years and things like that. So I don't know where I came up with all this stuff and when I was 10, but yeah. And then the second song I ever wrote was actually when I was 16. The songs that I completed, I think I had little ideas here and there for sure, but it takes, I think, a little discipline to complete a song, right? It's easy to have the ideas, but it does take a little discipline and maybe a little knowledge of song form to actually complete a song. But yeah, my second completed song was then called "Oh Rain," and it was wild. And it was almost like a mini musical, actually. And I was into this like really interesting piano playing. It almost has this like Sondheim-esque like piano interlude with all these like modulations and stuff. And I just like go crazy on the piano in the middle of it. But it's a cool song. It yeah, it's about basically like this girl sitting in her room, and there's this metaphor with the rain where it's raining outside, and it's like, "Oh rain, why do you fall?" And like the rain is preventing her from going outside and like facing her fears and living life to the fullest. And then in the middle she realizes it's not the rain at all. you know like there's something she's not willing to go out and brave, maybe fears or things, going out into the world and braving the world to get to your true happiness and your dreams, and she's using the rain as like an excuse.
that's definitely quite inward and reflective, and yeah, that's what's stopping us, right? That's usually the bigger existential crisis, right? Like what's stopping us from self-actualizing or self
Mm.
fulfillment, right? What's stopping us from achieving our optimal levels of ourselves? And yeah, sometimes it's a great, I'll tell you, I live in Costa Rica, and during rainy season, if you are stoppable because of the rain, then you're going to be shut down, powered down for 6 months. And I grew up with snow in Iowa. So if the snow is going to stop you, then you're just going to be a
Yeah.
hermit. So yeah, I love
Yeah.
that idea.
Although drive carefully in the snow.
Drive
Don't
very
do this.
carefully.
Don't go the same speed as you would have.
Totally. Yes.
Yeah.
We'll just have like a disclaimer at the bottom here that says,
Yeah.
be safe.
Yeah.
A song lyric doesn't mean you have to go
Yeah.
do something. So yeah, I love it though.
Yeah.
And that's the great power of nature, right? Like the rain and the elements and the fire and the snow and all of these experiences we get to have, how that impacts songwriting. And so that's what's wonderful about the journey that you wrote when you were 16 of having this inward wisdom of, yeah, okay, what is that? I love
Yeah.
that. Fantastic. All right, well,
Yeah,
let's jump
sometimes
into
we're imprisoned. Yeah. I was just gonna
yeah,
say
go
one
ahead.
last thing.
You're in
Sometimes,
prison.
yeah, it's just our own fears are really what imprison us. And we
Mhm.
can always use anything that's happening in our lives, any situation can be the excuse as to why we can't do XYZ. We can't, oh, it's this, it's that, it's that. But as soon as there's never going to be a perfect situation to accomplish your dreams. You're always going to find something that's not perfect as to why you're held back. Other people have this, and other people aren't busy with this, or blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, the real alchemy happens when we could just make the most of what we have is there, and then we can create such magic when we can face our fears and just really make the best out of what we have.
I second that. Aho. Wonderful. All right, question 3. So what is the creative process of music creation like for you? So as you talked earlier, of course there's that song that comes through, but what you did say about is songwriting and arrangement. And that's something that I would imagine, because both of us have parents that are music teachers, to have that music theory component as well as having that heart-led self-expression. Those are really beautiful combinations of recognizing like how the process is. And then the follow-up to that would also be like, maybe, for example, like when I am about to write a song or about to perform it or play it, I always like to do a walk in nature or take a swim or just be in my own space. So maybe there's more of like your own routines and rituals and practices. And then there's actually the logistics of how you piece together the song. As John Lennon famously said, he didn't write one song, he allowed for the song to write itself. So be in that flow state of how music comes through. So I'll let you respond however you choose on that one.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned nature too. And this is one of my shirts, Nature Knows. That's the name of the album that is coming out. The album's coming out on all platforms April 8th. And Love is there. The pre-order is currently happening. But yeah, I love that you said you got into nature, because nature, so we have creative input and then we have creative output. And the input is like when you are in that space to receive, right? And nature is one of the most perfect ways to do that, where you just go out and I think nature has this way of like cleansing your vessel and then opening you up to inspiration. And if you can really like leave your phone to the side and go out into nature for a while, I try to go on a walk at least once a day. I live in Southern California, so it's easy for me with the nice weather. But I like to go on a walk at least once a day, where I keep my phone inside, so I can just really allow my thoughts to run the birds and look at the trees, and allow myself to be outside of my head and more out in nature, noticing things, noticing beautiful things. And that's a beautiful space to receive creative inspiration. I first got the idea for the song Nature Knows, which is the title track of the album, when I was walking in a canyon, actually by my parents' house some years back. And I started just getting these spiritual messages from nature, and I was walking along this path, and everything just became a metaphor, and I was getting just all these messages, and it was so interesting. And then I was jamming with my bass player friend at the time, and the lyrics just started coming through. He came up with the groove actually, for the Nature Knows song, and I just started singing, and it just comes through. So oftentimes for the actual song ideas, they just start flowing through. And if I just allow myself to flow, then they'll come in, and then I'll notice, oh, that sounds like a chorus, or that sounds like a verse. And then once the initial ideas are flowing, then it just takes a little bit of discipline to then sit down and complete the song in the form, and say, okay, now I have to write a second verse, or okay, so what am I feeling for the bridge? And then I kind of like improvise ideas around the bridge, and it's like, what do I want to say with this? And then sometimes I have to cut down the song later. And working with DJ Taz Rashid, um, he actually like told me to cut some songs down from what they were, really good. They're just a little too long. And it's an interesting challenge when you feel like all of your lyrics are necessary. And then you have this challenge of, how do I cut this down? And that's something a lot of creatives talk about, is having to kill your darlings when you're in the editing process. And in video editing, it's similar. When you have like, there are shots, for videos that are like, yes, this has to be in there. And then there are some that are like, this is really good, but it's not quite necessary exactly for this. So sometimes you have a really beautiful verse, and you're like, it's too much. I have to cut it. And then you're like, well, maybe it'll come back in another song. Who knows? Maybe not. But there has to be a little bit of not so much attachment to each thing. Actually, like, really usually at least twice as many songs for their album as they keep. So that's an interesting thing too. That's why Taylor Swift has all these like from the vault songs, because usually you have twice as many and then you cut it down. It's not as common for indie artists. We just do whatever we want, but I think most of us have a lot of stuff though in the vault that we haven't released, and it's like, is this really for this album? Or so that's kind of an interesting part of the process. But yeah, that's mostly my songwriting process. And then the production process is like a whole thing as well.
I love that. And I found this picture of you in nature.
Yeah.
So nature definitely knows, and she talks to you and you talk to her, and it's a beautiful connection in the tree, the branches, and your wings, and the expansion, and all that connection around being in nature, and that connection piece when you get to connect to your instrument and to that creative flow. And here's another photo that I'd like to share of you performing.
Yeah, that's Chris, actually, the bassist who co-wrote Nature Knows with me. So
oh, wonderful.
He co-wrote that song.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. I love that. Yeah, I'd love the behind the scenes conversations, because a lot of us out there that are either musicians that always are encouraged to hear how other people have a routine or ritual. And the majority of people out there that aren't professional musicians, obviously, even though there's millions of professional musicians that enjoy the music, they're always very much intrigued, I feel, by your storytelling around it, because it gives people that, behind the scenes wizardry, the method to the magic, we'll call it. So I love that. Yeah, thanks for sharing about that. And I trust for you, as it is for me, it's an intimate process. It's all your heart and your soul, and you're just pouring it out, and it can be exhausting, and it can be like, okay, I need to have some self-care. And I love what you said earlier, like put the phone away, go in nature. Not
Yeah.
right now, though. If you're watching this podcast, keep the phone on, keep listening.
Once it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once it's complete, go out and, nature. And well, of course, we're going to have a request that you pre-order the album so you can feel into what nature is speaking through Lena Belle. And so let's jump into a song. How's that feel? Would you like to perform?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah, everyone loves live performances.
So
all right, I'll give you the whole screen. Feel free to set up the song, what you're going to perform, and everyone enjoy.
Are you hearing the guitar still?
Yep, loud and clear.
Okay, good.
Sounds wonderful.
Great. Awesome. So this song is called Sunrise, and it's on the full album Nature Knows, which is coming out April 8th on Spotify and all listening platforms. And this is a song about the awakening of humanity and just this feeling of waking up after a long night and greeting the sunrise. And after this darker era, there's a bit of a grieving happening when you're letting go of these ancient past traumas. And we're healing our lineages, we're healing ourselves and the collective, and we're grappling with the darkness of the past and coming into this new era of humanity. So part of that is a lot of self-healing and forgiveness and just letting it go, letting it go, letting it go. So the song is about that. Sunrise, seep into my tired eyes. It's been a long night. I've been crying ancient cries, old wounds. Ne'er did I forget you, but I've been loving through and through, drinking sweet forgiveness. And I give it all, give it all, give it all back to you. Great fire, oh, I give it all, give it all, give it all back to you. Great love, oh, I give it all, give it all, give it all back to you. Great fire, oh, I give it all, give it all back to you. Old masks, cracking like they're artifacts. The past is gone, no turning back. And forward there is freedom. Old rules given from my days in school. The good girl melts into the fool. The wild woman enters. And I give it all, give it all, give it all back to her. Great mother, oh, I give it all, give it all back to her. Great love, oh, I give it all, give it all, give it all back to sweet spirit. Oh, I give it all, give it all, give it all back to her. Oh, the love within you, feel that burning dove. Your heart has always been enough, and here we find the freedom. Oh, rose no longer fit this bright new glow. My spirit is the one who knows the path that I must follow. So I give it all, give it all, give it all back to you. Great fire, oh, I give it all, give it all, give it all back to you. Great love, oh, I give it all, give it all, give it all back to him. Great Father, oh, I give it all, give it all, give it all back to you. Sunrise, seep into my tired eyes. It's been a long night, and I've been crying ancient cries.
So lovely. Want to make sure everyone sees the album, Nature Knows. It's your debut album crowdfunding, and it's now live. And we're going to share in just a moment how anyone out there watching can go to either shop at lenabellemusic.com, or as you can see on the screen, go to natureknows.love to pre-order. It's a lovely song. Wow. So good. Thank you for sharing that. So that's how I just responded. Yeah, you're welcome. That's how I responded to your music, just by like feeling into it, and give it all to you. Yes. Such a beautiful line. And so the question number 4 in our 5Q interview is, how do people respond to your music? I'm sure it's just like what I did. It's like, So what are some themes or words or responses that a lot of people share with you about your music?
Yeah, a lot of people say that it just kind of like, I don't know, transports them into this realm that is very loving and peaceful. And a lot of people say angelic. A lot of angelic, and they describe the vocals and just the vibe. So that's something, a lot of people say angelic. A lot of people say like they feel it in their heart. So heart opening, heart medicine. Yeah, and some of the other songs have a little bit more electronic elements and beats and stuff. So there's some more acoustic tracks, and then some more like powerhouse tracks, like Lioness. Lioness is like a power track. So that's what's cool about the album too, is that kind of takes you on a journey, and it has these more higher energy moments, and then these like sweet medicinal moments that you can kind of relax to. Yeah.
I love that. And Tracy just wrote in and said, beautiful. So yes, thanks for watching live with us.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you.
Yeah. And so when we look at who you are, what you're up to, and I love how you're sharing about your own empowerment, right? And to be able to record your own vocals in your home studio, to play keyboards, piano, the songwriting. Of course, you said your friend Chris, bass player, supported you on a co-written song. And then to put in harmony stacks, layers, sound effects, samples, and as you said, having some electronic components to it is really beautiful. And then for you to be the executive producer with the vision for what you're choosing to have. And of course, the beautiful photography that you have for this project. Yeah, I want to acknowledge you because as you wrote here, it's fun and a challenging process. And it's that continual empowerment and get yourself up. And we all have our days as artists, right? And it's wonderful when you can see it through. And as you were sharing that song you wrote when you were 10 years old, even if it's raining out, don't make it be a stoppable moment. Like keep moving forward when you have the vision for the album. And no matter what, this is what you're going to do, because life is always lifing, right? There's always going to be something that you're going to have as a possible block. So I want to acknowledge that for you, because doing a full album is no joke.
Yeah, and it was definitely not instantaneous. Honestly, so some of those songs were written in 2016. I've been working on this album technically for a really long time. We started the production. Well, Nature Knows as a song, we actually produced at the end of 2018. I released that song at the February 2019. Then there was a remix to that song that Taz did, DJ Taz Rashid. And then we started working on the album production for the whole album at the end of 2019. Then we were releasing some singles from the album. So this one has been actually kind of like a slow burn to really, but it's been nice releasing the different singles from the album, getting people a chance to get to know it and things. But I was expecting it to go faster, but and then the whole shutdown happened and all this stuff. But it's all in divine timing, and it does take that really because there's all going to be things that are trying to pull you away from completing things, but it really takes that fire and that determination to complete major projects like this. So I definitely had to meet myself. I had to meet myself, and that's the thing about facing fears. It's really, you have to get really uncomfortable and like really to move through those blockages and just be like, no, it's happening. I'm sitting down, I'm doing it. Sometimes it's even painful. When you're making breakthroughs, it can be painful just to like start to sit down to do the thing. Like just open up the production station, just sit down. It's like step one. And it's like, no, and then you just, everything will come at you, like more time on the internet or like this other thing for work that you have to do, or, other people in your life, you have to do things for, oh, I have to clean, I have to do this. And it's like, there can always be a million things that you could do instead of like the drive really want to do to the next level. So that's when you just have to be like, no, like I'm sitting out right now or else.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yes. Totally.
Yeah. Well, like sometimes you need that like negative motivation too, where like you look at the timeline of like, what happens if I never do this thing that I really want to do? And then you feel into that and you're like, well, I guess I would feel like, like I'm half living, half not. And I would see other people doing the thing and I would feel really sad inside because I want to be doing that thing, and you feel into that and you're like, that's terrible. Okay, let me make sure I do this right now.
Yeah, like the impact of you not living your fullest life.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, that's so true. Yeah, I had a little trick I'll share with you since you brought it up. Is when I was working on my debut album, it was also I always, in the description, I always wrote a 5-year process a lifetime in the making.
Yeah.
Because it takes all of that effort to really get it going. And so what I love about Nature Knows is you're really integrating aspects of your own self-expression. Like with Lioness, I've heard that song. I know that's on Spotify already. And then I've heard the remix by DJ Taz Rashid. And so, yeah, to be able to drip a little bit of these samples out, um, the proverbial little pink spoon, you want a little sample of something. So what I love about the intention today is for you to let everyone know that they can pre-order and get your entire album and recognize all the time, all the effort, all the love that went into it, and that you had to create healthy boundaries, right? And that's a great lesson for life. I actually had an automated text replacement thing on my phone where I jokingly put BRB, like be right back. But what spelled out was, thank you so much for reaching out to me and inviting me to your social event. I'm actually choosing to fulfill a dream of mine, which is to launch my first album. I'd love to connect with you upon the completion of this project. Don't take it personally. And I can't wait for you to hear my music. And here's a sample link of something I've been working on. So then you're communicating with your community, your people, that yes, it's coming out. And at the same time, it's like, as you said, hard no, can't do it, won't do it.
You
But
had that
yeah,
as an automated text response?
I did, because as anyone would know, I'm like Mr. Extroverted social guy. And I was
Mm.
like always going around, you live in San Diego County and I lived there for 22 years. There's always another North
Yeah.
County, South County. There's something going on all the time, and some event, and someone's inviting me here and there and wanted me to perform at like a yoga class or a studio. So I had to have those limitations. And at the same time, I was a full-time high school teacher. So it's like I
Wow.
had my jobby job and doing everything else and balancing that. And that's the thing about art. And for our self-expression with music, it's really, it's almost a miracle that certain projects come to life.
Mm.
It's like, wow, what did
Yeah.
this take? And no one will ever know all of what it took. And what I love is the component of your own evolution, your own consciousness expanding, your own acknowledgement of all of those parts and pieces. Because a lot of times you think, oh, I have all these songs in me, I'm just gonna like get them out, record them, launch the album, do a tour, and do a cartwheel, and then we'll be good. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah. So I love that you're sharing the details of how challenging it is. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Thank
So
you.
for especially those people that say your voices and your music is angelic, it's like, well, how does an angel become an angel? It's like champions are made in the off season, like
Yeah.
doing all this stuff.
Oh. Yeah, for real. And we live in this material world. And that's, a lot of spiritual people, and I've been around a lot of spiritual people. It's really easy to want to escape really being grounded, because you can have so much fun in the spiritual realms, and it's so easy to use it as an escape, and to make I'm just being transcendent. Like, I don't need to deal with this physical stuff because that's mundane or something. But I
Mhm.
find the real work is to ground in those frequencies. Like, how can you walk on the earth
Yeah.
with that love, and then it really brings down that love and those cosmic energies really into this dimension. And so, yeah, that includes facing ourselves and our real like humanness, our human selves. You gotta do the laundry, you gotta organize things,
Yep.
you have to clean the dishes, and it's sometimes there's resistance to really staying on top of all the worldly things. But when we can really have that grounding the fully, then we can really live our mission on earth.
Mm. Yeah. Chop wood, carry water.
Exactly.
Exactly. I love that. Thank you for that. So let's jump into our final question,
Yeah.
which is, why do we do music? Why do you do music, Lena Belle?
Yeah. And I love that segue from chop wood, carry water. And it's, you know, I think we, especially in America, we have all of these ideas about what things are supposed to be, and everything is like achievement oriented. Like, especially with the arts, people think, oh, I can't sing or I can't do music or I can't dance unless I'm going to be like a professional. And then even if you are a professional, then it's constantly, then it's more about the business side of it. And you have to be really into the business end. Um, but do music. Why? And that's a really good self inquiry, I think, for all of us to be like, why is it that I do this? For anything that is your passion. And for me, I just had to realize that it's really to experience life on a deeper level, to express, to have that creative flow, and to feel those emotions being crystallized into this beauty of this art form that then reaches others and connects with them, where when you hear an emotion that you've felt in a song, and maybe you've never heard it described in that exact way before, and the way that it's being expressed through the song, just it transmits that emotion to you even more, and it makes you feel like, wow, I felt, this speaking to me because I felt that. And sometimes we suppress our emotions, but when you hear it in music, it becomes beautiful, and your emotion is then given some meaning and some flow, rather than like if you go through a breakup or something, and you're feeling sad, but then you connect with a song, then it's like, now it's almost like the pain that you experience isn't for nothing. It's now been transmuted into something beautiful, and then you even become grateful for some of the harder experiences that you've gone through, because they were given this expression. So so yeah, I think it's to experience life on a deeper level, and to have that connection with others, where you're connected as one in this emotion and this expression, as they're connecting to the music and you're playing the music. So to this connection of oneness and this expression, and it's just part of daily life too. I think as a musician, you just have to fall in love with music in your daily life, and you just fall in love with what you're doing. Like the joy is in the work. The joy is in the daily practice. You have to fall in love with sitting down and doing it. Like for you with producing, it's like I'm sure you get a joy out of just producing, and you just get into the flow of producing. And of course we love, the things that might come out of that. But one of the yogic concepts of your action to creator, to the great I am, to the oneness. And we're always going after the fruit, but if we fall in love with the action, we fall in love with the daily devotion, and we just keep surrendering the fruit, we'll be fed, you know but we'll have just less tension, I think.
Wow. I love that. I think you can take all of those musings and put it into a song. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
You have to rewind this.
Yeah. Totally.
And the title of the song could be Why Do We Do What We Do?
Mm.
Oh, I love that. And, there's a lot of humility in music. And I feel that there's a shift of music and sharing and contributing and recognizing your role in the overall societies that we get to be a part of, especially now with global communities uniting. Talk about oneness like never before. You know this when you look at your analytics, there's people streaming and listening to your music in hundreds of countries, and the same for my music as well. It's really powerful to witness that, and then to recognize that you and I chose parents that are music instructors. So they guided the way, they showed us the light of the gift of creative expression with music. And there's this opportunity for, what I hear from you is that connection piece of inspiring people to be in nature, and for nature to be able to speak to others as nature has spoken to you and to me. And that even if a song is what it takes for people to make that choice, it can really allow for people to be like, yeah, well, what am I here to do? You know, what's my dharmic path? What's possible for me if I were to remember the joy I had when I was a little kid doing these activities, and also to forgive ourselves when we forget, because a lot of times we forget. It's like, oh yeah, I love doing that. Why did I forget doing that? Because, you know, the world got in the way. And as you're talking about, like the Western mind, and especially in North America, it's like, go, go, go. It's, and as I love that, what you shared about the achievement part, like you're always looking for that, the carrot and the donkey. And it's like, you're never going to get that thing, because once you get the thing, then there's always this other thing. So it's wonderful. So yeah, I think it's a great moment to talk further about, you know, understanding why you do the music, allow for these songs to be available very soon to the world for your pre-order campaign. So I'm going to share with everyone your offerings. If anyone that is listening right now goes to the crowdfunder page. So this is a variety. Feel free to speak about these bundles.
Yeah. So the really cool thing about these bundles is that it's a 5 senses immersive experience of the album. So I really wanted to create this whole immersive experience. So in all the bundles, you have something for smell, something for taste, something for touch, and something for sound, the music, and something for sight. And all of these are beautifully sourced, handcrafted pieces. So the candle is handmade with a unique scent blend for the album. There's a massage oil that's really luxurious and has this herbal scent blend. There's rose, jasmine, and other scents in that oil. We also have vinyl, which is my first ever vinyl. It's a limited edition run, so it's definitely a collector's item. It's going to be the only version of the album that has that indigo color. So there are a limited number of copies of that will ever be created. And then the shirts, this is actually a shirt from the same company that I made. And it's like super soft modal fabric. It's all sustainable. The fabric is made in the US. It's all made ethically by a really great company. And yeah, there are CDs, digipack, and in all the album bundles, and even if you just donate like $10, you'll still get all the downloads of the album, and you'll also get an invite to an exclusive CD, an exclusive album release party, which is going to happen really soon, actually. So you're going to get the album before anybody gets it on Spotify on April 8th. Actually, you're going to get it like a week before. And in the deluxe album, there are 5 exclusive bonus tracks. So on the main album that will be on Spotify and all that, it has 13 main tracks. But if you order at natureknows.love, you will get the 5 additional bonus tracks, and you'll get the whole deluxe album before anybody else even gets it. So yeah, make sure to go to natureknows.love. And if you're wanting a more specific package with certain items and not others, you can also DM me or email me, and I could potentially create something for you. So yeah. And the tea is really cool too. There's Blue Lotus. It's a heart opening and spiritually activating and grounding tea. So you can brew the tea and then put on the album and light the candle, and it's like this whole beautiful experience.
That's amazing. I love how interactive this can be, as you were sharing all the different senses that can get ignited. Very amazing.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
so here's a list. You got the vinyl, you have the massage oil, the poster, the shirt that you are showcasing right now, and double album CD digipack, download, instrumental download, handmade candle. Love it. Heart opening, herbal tea, crystal that's been Reiki charged, and then signed poster card with a photo, exclusive virtual album, and it includes the shipping. Wonderful. Well, this is the bundle pack that I encourage everyone to grab, and the Warrior of Light, Super Warrior of Light album bundle, 1111. I love that.
Yeah,
Yes.
that one has sessions in it as well.
Oh,
And then
lovely.
there's ones that are less expensive without the sessions. And so, yeah, people can go through and see which one you like best that you want to get for yourself.
Wonderful. Okay, so I encourage everyone that's watching, listening, either live or on the archive, to go to natureknows.love and pre-order. And you can already today get a sample of a live performance from Lena Belle, and really grateful for your presence today. And I'd love for you to have any closing words to invite people to support this beautiful album that's your debut.
Yeah, just thank you so much for having me, Dave. And I'm just so grateful to be able to share this music with the world. And I hope that you join me on this journey. You can also find me on social media, Lena Belle Music, LenaBelle Music on Instagram. I'm on YouTube, Lena Belle, Spotify, and all the platforms. I'm on TikTok as well, actually. So yeah, you can find me and feel free to send me a DM and connect. I answer my DMs usually. And yeah, just thank you so much for watching to the end, and hope we can stay connected on this journey, and that the music brings you something of love, connects you to your higher self, and brings you some joy.
Thank you for your energy, your presence, and your invitation for everyone. So natureknows.love. And as you can see, there's a lot of other places where you can find and follow Lena Belle's journey on Instagram, TikTok. I'm on that platform too. It's a lot of fun. And so thanks again for being here. Thanks everyone out there for watching. Big shout out to Tracy for following along, and thank you for commenting. Congratulations. Love, peace, and blessings. Blessings to you, Tracy. Thank you for sharing. Looking forward to hearing more of your music. Wonderful. You already have a brand new fan. There you go. Fanática.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Thanks again. And appreciate you being here, Lena Belle, and grateful that we get to be in connection. And yeah, maybe see you on one of your tours, one of your performances. And want to definitely acknowledge everyone out there that supports music, supports artists, and supports the impact that music can have in their lives. And as Lena is inviting you to go to natureknows.love, send a DM on Instagram. We love it as artists when we hear from people, right? A lot of times people are like, oh, I don't want to reach out. They're probably busy or doing something else. It could be like, it can make our day sometimes to get a message. You're like, oh, wow, that song really landed with that person. You know,
yeah,
it's like,
totally.
yes, that's what all the challenges and all the breakdowns and breakthroughs. And it's like, yes. So, all right. Thanks again. And wishing you a beautiful rest of your day. Adios.
You too, Dave. Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome.
So.
My pleasure.